I'd been driving all night, struggling to stay awake on the endless dark highway. My gas gauge was dangerously low, the needle just a hair's breadth from empty. As luck would have it, a gas station sign flickered to life up ahead. "Last stop," it read. The irony wasn't lost on me. I pulled into the small, dimly lit station. It looked like it hadn't seen customers or a good cleaning in years. The fluorescent lights above the pumps buzzed weakly, casting an unnatural glow over the empty lot. I stepped out of the car, the cold air biting, and felt an eerie silence settle around me. There was no wind, no crickets, just the low hum of the gas pump. The cashier's booth was empty, but I figured it was one of those pay-at-the-pump places. As I inserted my card, I noticed a strange figure leaning against the wall by the restroom. It was an old man, thin and gaunt, with hollow eyes that seemed to glint in the dark. His clothes were dirty, and his skin looked pale, almost grey under the sickly light. "Hey," I called out, trying to shake off the chill creeping up my spine. "Do you work here?" He stared at me for a moment before smiling. His teeth were yellowed, almost translucent, like they'd been rotting for years. "Don't stay here too long," he rasped, his voice barely a whisper. I nodded awkwardly, chalking it up to the oddities you encounter on long drives. But as I turned back to the pump, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, a flash of movement behind the car, just at the edge of the darkness. My heart pounded, but when I turned, there was nothing there. I shrugged it off and continued pumping gas, but my nerves were frayed. That's when I heard the voice, a woman's voice, soft and pleading, echoing from somewhere nearby. "Help, please, help me." I froze, the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it sounded close, like it was right behind me. I spun around, but there was no one there. I glanced back at the old man by the restroom, but he was gone. My heart raced as I walked around the car, trying to make sense of what I'd heard. Just as I rounded the back of the car, I saw something, a set of handprints on the window, smeared and ghostly, like someone had pressed their palms against the glass. "Help me," the voice whispered again, this time closer. Panicking, I jumped into my car, locked the doors and tried to start the engine, but it only sputtered. The gas gauge had gone back to empty, even though I'd just filled it. My heart pounded and my breath came in shallow gasps. It felt like the air was closing in, thick and suffocating. Then, suddenly, there was a face in my rearview mirror. A woman, pale and gaunt, her eyes hollow and black. Her mouth hung open in a silent scream, her hands reaching toward me from the back seat. I let out a scream and turned, but the back seat was empty. Frantically, I fumbled with the keys, and the engine roared to life. I tore out of the gas station, my tires screeching on the cracked pavement. The road ahead stretched out into the night, but I didn't care. I just wanted to put as much distance between me and that place as possible. As I sped down the highway, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The gas station was fading into the distance, but something strange caught my eye. There, just barely visible, was the old man standing by the pumps, watching me go, his eyes glowing in the darkness. When I looked back at the road, I was hit with a sudden realization. I'd been driving for miles, but the gas gauge hadn't moved. It was still hovering near empty, and the night seemed darker, colder than before. Suddenly, the woman's voice echoed through the car again, louder this time, as if she was right beside me. "Help me, you can't leave." I tried to ignore it, pressing down harder on the gas, but the car slowed, as if resisting my escape. My hands shook as I gripped the wheel, fear crawling over me like a wave of ice. I didn't dare look in the rearview mirror. The car came to a stop on the side of the road, and the lights dimmed, flickering as the engine died. I was alone again, stranded in the middle of nowhere, with only the empty stretch of road and the oppressive darkness around me. The last thing I remember is hearing footsteps approaching from behind, soft but unmistakable, as the woman's voice whispered one final time, "Thank you for stopping." Everything went black. Title: The Last Stop. Image prompt: a dark, abandoned gas station along a desolate